Good morning, Stephen. We are at Mining Indaba today. Could you maybe give us a short introduction of who you are and what you do, and then we'll get into the questions from there.
Thank you. My name is Stephen Nthite, a partner at Beech Veltman Attorneys, based in Sandton, Johannesburg, South Africa. We specialize in mining law, and one of the areas that we advise our clients on is issues relating to illegal mining.
Okay. Stephen, could we start by giving us some background on illegal mining in South Africa? What is the current state of illegal mining in the country, and what is the response from the public and private sectors to these issues?
Thank you. I think the starting point would be to put a context to illegal mining. To start with, illegal mining is a crime. It's a global criminal syndicate that is intent on plundering the mineral resources of South Africa, and not only South Africa, but quite a number of countries in the African continent and globally. South Africa loses quite a lot of money due to illegal mining in the form of lost tax revenues. There's monies that are leaving the country in the form of these minerals being exported globally without any taxes, customs duties being paid, no declarations being made. Estimations are anything in the region of 20 billion rands per year is lost to our fiscus due to these minerals being taken out of the country illegally by these global criminal syndicates. In terms of responses from the public, by public, let me focus on our government, because they are the custodians of making sure that this criminal activity stops. Our government went as far as collaboration with Russia back then to talk to the United Nations, and a strategy was adopted to deal with the global criminal activity of illegal mining. And it is one of the many initiatives that our government is taking. The president was here at the Mining Indaba. He spoke about what our government is going to be doing to deal with issues relating to illegal mining. The mining sector itself, individual mines have got things that they do, initiatives with communities and initiatives they do themselves as individual mining houses, but they also, under the umbrella of the Mining Council of South Africa, they engage with government when it comes to issues of coming up with proposals, how to implement those proposals, how to monitor the implementation of those proposals to make sure that this issue of illegal mining is really dealt with, because it is impeding the economic growth of South Africa. It affects a lot of things. If government doesn't make money, it can't provide services to its people. Basic services like water, like clean environment, for example, electricity. If there's no money to do that, money leaves the country illegally, the government will not be able to provide the services to the people. That's the impact of illegal mining.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now, a large proportion of illegal mining in the country consists of gold mines. Is this still an active trend, or are other precious minerals and resources being sought after as well?
Well, thanks for that question, because the list is quite big. These people don't just target gold. It goes to gold, it goes to diamonds, it goes to, for example, you'll find sealed mine shafts which were properly sealed and rehabilitated. They will use explosives to blow them open. After the drag lines, the cables, electrical cables, anything that they find underneath, to take outside illegally, go reprocess or go sell, and make sure that whatever they can find and make money out of, irrespective of the damage to the environment or whatever problems that they cause, like using harmful chemicals and all of that, they target almost anything. This is not just about gold. It's just that gold, it's put out there in the news because they started with gold. But now they've gone after everything. It's no longer about gold. It's about any mineral that they could find. They plunder that mineral. So it's not just about gold.
Okay, that's very interesting. Okay, how does Beech Veltman then support clients in instances where illegal mining interferes with current projects?
Well, what we do, we spend quite a lot of time at operations of our mining clients. And one of the things that we advise them to do is to engage with the communities within which they operate, because you can have the legal license to operate as a company, but you also need what you call a social license to operate. The social license to operate is a very strategic and good partnership with the communities within which you operate, because once you have that partnership, then you'll be able to come up with structures, with strategies with those communities to say, how do we first of all detect and not cure, detect anything that resembles an attempt to do illegal mining? How do we do that? And how do we stop it from happening? And how do we make sure that it doesn't happen? So those partnerships with communities are not just beneficial in a sense that the mines need to operate peacefully, they need to provide jobs to them and all of that. They are essential to the security of the mining license that the mines have. When the communities help them to operate without the interference of these illegal miners, then the country at large will benefit from those initiatives. Things like the social labor plans that the mines have to prepare with the communities. They should include initiatives like, for example, how are we going to work together to deal with the scourge of illegal mining while we are addressing other issues that have to be contained in the social labor plan. And one of the things that I need to emphasize before we close is that it is not only undocumented foreign nationals who are involved in illegal mining. We've got South Africans as well involved in this thing. And this was identified as far back as 2015 by the Human Rights Commission of South Africa. That is not only foreigners undocumented who are involved in this. South Africans are also involved in this. So you cannot tackle a problem unless you identify it and describe it for what it is. It's not only legal immigrants. Some of them come here legally, some come here illegal, and then South Africans are also involved in this. So we need to look at this thing holistically to say, we as South Africans who live around mining communities, we need to be identified as involved in illegal mining so that we can also be dealt with the same way that these international crime syndicates have to be dealt with. Yes.
Okay, aside from market share and access to resources, are there any other considerations to take into account when profiling illegal mining? For instance, how do health and safety and other labor considerations come into play?
Well, that's quite important. You look at the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights, as enshrined in our Constitution in South Africa, it provides a number of rights to every South African to clean environment, water, sanitation, you name it. Government is supposed to be providing those services to the citizens of this country. But often where in an area there's illegal mining activities happening, they will divert the water intended for local communities to illegal mining activities. They will divert electricity that is intended to serve the communities living around the mining areas. In fact, it happened somewhere in Krugersdorp in Johannesburg, where an entire substation was connected to an illegal mining activity and the suburb went dark for some time. Yeah. The police had to come and intervene, possibly with the help of the Defense Force, to make sure that that connection is terminated and the community gets the electricity back. So there's quite a number of issues. One of them is human trafficking. We've seen an arrest of these illegal miners, and some of them were minors, young children, who could not even be prosecuted because they were not yet minors in terms of law. So they had to be released back so they could go home. So when we look at the profiling of an illegal miner, it is no longer someone who used to work in the mine, an adult person who understands how to do mining and all. They traffic people into South Africa illegally. Some of them are children. So there's a breach of international law happening within our own country that we need to deal with. Possibly these children who are brought in to do illegal mining are abused. We don't know. The environment, these people use harmful chemicals like mercury, uncontrolled, unsupervised. Some of them die from these activities. These illegal miners, they die. We see it in the news every day. They die, and our communities see them lying all over the place with no one there to claim them because nobody knows who they are. And so there's quite a lot of connotations involved in what these people do that impact not only the communities but themselves too.
Okay, with something like illegal mining, the focus of entities operating in the mining sector should revolve around prevention over a cure. How does the firm support this preventative narrative, and what has the success been with clients? And to add to that, how does community engagement serve as a preventative measure, which you've probably touched on?
Thank you.
Earlier on.
I touched on it earlier on, but just to emphasize certain things which I didn't mention. When the mines engage with their community partners, they need to make sure that, because they formalize those relationships with the communities, and one of the things that they will have in their SLPs or different agreements is that let us work together to make sure that we don't allow any one of you to be involved or to assist any illegal mining activities in our area, number one. Number two, the community, being the first people to identify these things, will provide intelligence to the mining companies, and the mining companies will then forward that information to the law enforcement agencies in South Africa. That's the only way we can do that, in a collaborative approach. The community, the mines, the police, the courts, to make sure that this whole value chain of law enforcement is fed with the correct information timeously, to make sure that even before this thing happens, it is nipped in the bud. Because it is very difficult to stop something that has already started. Because we've seen them, the amount of expensive weapons that they carry when they are when they're fighting against our own police force. I mean, the weapons, the rifles that they carry, those things are extremely powerful. That's why the defense force was called in. So it is difficult to stop them once they've started, but before they start, it's easier, and only intelligence from the local community will assist the mines to say, we've seen these people gather, we've heard that this is what they intend to do, please alert the police immediately. The mine does that, and the police arrive, and this thing is stopped before it starts. Thank you.
Great, Stephen. Thank you very much, and enjoy your day further.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.